Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, today we're going to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes I see people making every single day when they're trying to move money between an IRA and the TSP, especially near retirement, where it's very common for people to be going to an IRA for lots of reasons. It's very common for people to do that, and there's 3 mistakes that people make all the time that I want to make sure you never make. Now, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. So good to have you. My name is Dallin Hosm, a financial planner who serves federal employees just like you, and I absolutely love it. So let's dive right in. So for those that don't know, the vast majority of federal employees have their money in the traditional TSP, okay? So let's say we got right here the traditional TSP. You may also have Roth TSP, okay? And on the IRA side, there are traditional IRAs, okay, and Roth IRAs, okay? You have all of the above, okay? These are the 4 different places where you might have money. You may also have 401ks, 403bs, whatever it may be. But as a federal employee, these are the main places where you have money. And today we're going to talk about how you can move amongst these different accounts to make sure you keep the most of your money and do things that actually make sense without breaking any rules or anything else, okay? Mistake number one. When people are trying to get money over from the TSP to a traditional IRA or Roth IRA, if they're trying to make that transfer, it's incredibly important to know what words to use, okay? To move money out of a retirement account, there's really 2 words that usually are used. First is transfer, right, as we see here. Second is a rollover, right? And generally speaking, in the world of finance, transfer and rollover are kind of the same thing, right? You're moving money out and you're moving money to IRAs. However, you have to be very careful with the TSP. If you say rollover, the TSP often assumes you're talking about not moving to an IRA, but actually just moving out to you, right? Let's say a checking or savings account. And whenever you don't go directly to an IRA, there's a lot more complicated things that happen. So let me clarify. What you want to do is do a transfer. You want to transfer money directly from your TSP to IRAs. If you have traditional TSP, directly to the traditional IRA. If you have Roth TSP, directly to a Roth IRA. Okay, and some of you will have both, certainly. You want to make sure it goes directly to that account, period, done. If your goal is to get it to an IRA and you do what they call a rollover, okay, which again, in some contexts does mean directly, but sometimes with TSP, it means they're going to send it to you, right? If they send the money to you first, okay, technically you do have 60 days to get the money back into an IRA without penalties, but the problem is, if they send the money to you, they're going to take out taxes first. So if you have 100 grand that they send to you, they're going to keep 20% and only send you 80. And then you would have to then somehow get 100 grand up in here to have no taxes and penalties applied. Long story short, the summary of number 1 is make sure no matter how and what you're doing, if your goal is to get to an IRA, make sure they send the money directly to your IRA, period, done. You never want it to touch your personal checking or savings account. You want it to directly go to the IRA. That's step number 1. If you make this mistake, it can be bad news on so many levels. Don't do that, okay? Now let's go to mistake number 2. Mistake number 2. The TSP, well, let me back up. When it comes to retirement accounts, if we're looking at, let's say, these 4 examples, the normal age that you have to be able to access money in these accounts without penalty, okay? So let me back up one more step, actually. Whenever you pull money out of a traditional account, you have to pay taxes, right? No matter what. But you also have to pay a penalty if you're under certain ages. The default age is 59 and a half, right? Once you're over 59 and a half, there's no early penalties from taking retirement accounts, okay? However, if you're under 59 and a half, there could be penalties. The good news, though, is that TSP has exceptions to this 59 and a half rule. The first exception is called the Rule of 55, where if you retire or leave the government in the year you turn 55 or later, then you can access TSP. You can take withdrawals from the TSP without that normal 10% penalty. Now, if you're taking from the traditional TSP, you'll certainly still have to pay taxes, but you won't have the penalty, okay? So again, 59.5 is the default rule, but there are a few exceptions to 59.5 taken directly from the TSP, okay? So, long story short, the reason I brought this up in context of moving money to IRAs is the TSP allows you to access it before 59.5 with some exceptions, right? Without the penalty. But IRAs do not have those same rules. So let's say you're 57, okay? So under the rule of 55, you could take withdrawals from the TSP directly to you, and while you do have to pay taxes, you don't have the penalty, okay? However, if you're only 57 and you move your entire TSP over to an IRA, then you took distributions from your IRA, you would have taxes and a penalty. Because for an IRA, you have to be at least 59.5 to take withdrawals out without a penalty. Okay, so long story short, with the TSP, you can often take it out before 59.5, depending on your age. With IRAs, you cannot. You have to wait at least 59.5 to take withdrawals from IRAs without penalty. So, whenever you retire and you're under 59.5, never send all of your TSP over to an IRA unless you're 100% confident you're not going to be taking withdrawals out of the IRA before 59.5, okay? So that's mistake number 2 is if you're under 59.5, never move all your TSP over. At least leave some in there to take withdrawals from that you need before 59.5, okay? Next rule, okay, or next big mistake that a lot of people make. So, when people are moving to IRAs from TSP, when they're trying to get over here, one of the big reasons they're doing that is to get money into a Roth IRA. Okay, that's a very common thing. I've got whole videos on Roth conversions. If you want to know why people do it, I've got whole videos on that. But long story short, the goal is to get a lot of money here in a Roth IRA where that money can grow tax-free, which is great. We love that. However, this is the mistake I see. Some people say, okay, I want to do Roth conversions. I want to get money in a Roth IRA, so I'm going to send money directly from my traditional TSP over to my Roth IRA, and that's exactly where I want it. That's good. We're good to go, right? And while that's not a mistake per se, I would do it a different way. Long story short, let's do an example. Let's say you send $10,000 from your traditional TSP to your Roth IRA. Well, since this is a pre-tax account and this is an after-tax account, they're going to take taxes out before they send this over. So if you want $10,000, they're going to send $2,000 of it straight to the IRS, and only $8,000 will actually get here to the Roth IRA. They're going to take out taxes first, okay? Now, what if we just did this a little bit different? What if we said, hey, I actually want to move $10,000 to my traditional IRA first, okay? And then move to the Roth IRA from there. The reason doing that is better most of the time is this. When you move from traditional account to traditional account, there's no tax penalties, or it's not a taxable event, okay? They're not going to withhold any taxes because it's a pre-tax account to a pre-tax account. Government doesn't care, okay? So the entire $10,000 comes over. And once it's here, you can put the entire $10,000 into the Roth IRA if you wanted to. Now, you'll still owe taxes on anything that goes into an after-tax account from a pre-tax account. So this would be a taxable event. However, you can take $2,000 from, let's say, a brokerage account or just your savings to pay the taxes, okay? And the entire $10,000 ends up in the Roth IRA. So long story short, if you go directly from TSP, they withhold the money, send it to the IRS. You get only what's left after tax in that account. If you do it this way, to the traditional IRA first, then over, you can get the entire amount over to the Roth, and you still have to pay the same amount in taxes, but you can pay the taxes from other funds. The net result is you have more money in a Roth IRA that's growing for you tax-free. So if this is new stuff to you, watch this video a couple times because it can get a little hairy if you've never heard about some of these things. And I know this is a very messy drawing, so hopefully it's still making sense. But these are some of the 3 big mistakes that I see all the time as people are trying to make moves between TSP and IRAs. And I've got whole videos comparing TSP to IRAs. There's advantages and disadvantages for both things. So just make sure you find the plan that works for you and your life and your career, your retirement, all those things. But I hope this is helpful. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.